Ah, 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 ah. What are we going to talk about today? Any
It
guesses?
one of Burke's favorite, most beloved things.
Yes.
Japanese monsters. That's what we're going to talk about. Kaiju.
And Ultraman is just, I don't know. There's something about Ultraman. I think when I was a kid and I discovered Ultraman,
I loved Ultraman too.
I felt like a whole weird world had
Yep.
opened up,
Mm-hmm.
and it was this brain expanding strangeness.
Yep.
And it was like from a different culture. They, you could tell they were speaking a different language and they had dubbed in. So it was so exotic and foreign to me
It
growing
was.
up in a little southern town where I grew up. And Ultraman to me was like the ultimate escapist fantasy for a kid. I just loved it, and
Yep.
it was everything about it was just so weird and cool and scary and
Yep.
sad
Mm-hmm.
and beautifully designed and executed the craft of it. You could
Yep.
tell that those were toy buildings, but they were still beautifully made.
Yep.
And the Ultraman costume, and the guy that played Ultraman and the fights and the monsters. Every week there was a different weird as hell
Yep.
monster.
Yep.
Scary monsters too. Weird, scary alien creatures. I
Yep.
just loved it.
It was so good. And hey, if you love Ultraman, join our channel. I know I'm terrible at advertising. I do it for a living, and I still can't do it for myself.
That was a great awkward
I thought
segue.
that was really good.
Speaking of Ultraman,
Sorry, guys. Ultraman. If you love Ultraman, you should join our channel.
yeah,
You get emojis, you get shout outs, you get priority replies, you get badges. And if you're a monster, we have two tiers, Mondo and Monster. If you're a monster, you get to suggest videos for us to watch, and then we'll watch it and we'll give you a call out. It's pretty damn cool. Then forever you will live in infamy on YouTube because your
yeah,
name will be in one of our videos. It's pretty damn cool. But one of
yeah,
the coolest things, you also get access to our Slack channel, direct access, private channel to us and our
yeah.
other cohorts like Elizabeth, Lara, Natalie, Whitney, Burke. Not so much Burke. Mark,
I
me.
try, I try, I try.
Burke doesn't try at all.
I do try.
He will though if Ultraman people join up.
I want it to be special when I show up in
He
there.
can talk about anything involving Ultraman. So if you like Ultraman, you join the channel. Burke will be on it. So it's up to you guys. All right, commercial over.
So yeah, but speaking of Ultraman,
Back to Ultraman.
the Japanese monster thing, the whole kaiju thing, it's just so near and dear to my heart. I love that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I can't get enough of it, and it's so nostalgic to me
Yeah.
because I think, like I was saying before, when I first discovered this stuff as a little kid, it opened up this whole world, and I felt like,
Mhm.
wow, I could make things like that. I could make monsters like that.
I could do
I
that.
can draw monsters like that. I can get involved in something like Super 8
Mhm.
films or drawing comic books and things. And it was inspiring in such a strange way to me as a kid. And there was something about it, there's something about those old things. There's an element to
Mhm.
them that has this kind of handmade um human element. I
Analog.
can't really put my finger on it, but a lot of newer films don't really have that. When you see things as cool as they are, things like Pacific Rim, it was
Yeah.
great. I loved the movie, but it
Yeah.
didn't have that handmade vibe of the
Yeah.
real kaiju stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I think these new films. There's the director of this, who i- you know Shinji Higuchi, I believe.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. He did Shin Godzilla, which I thought was really great, and I think
Yeah. It was so good.
it captured some of that vibe that I'm talking
Mhm.
about. Some of that thing that made me love these things when I was a kid was definitely in there. And it had been sort of lacking from some of the other Godzilla properties
Mhm.
that had come along. As
Yeah.
cool as they are, fun to watch. A Godzilla movie by an
Mhm.
American director, kind of cool.
Yeah.
But there's a Japanese vibe to Shin Godzilla that I just loved,
Yeah.
and I loved that it was no attempt to appeal to American audiences.
Nope.
Really,
Nope.
it was what it was, and it
You
was.
get it or you get it. You don't get
or
it, you don't get it.
you
That's
don't get
it.
it. Yeah,
They're not
exactly.
going to cater to you. You gotta in the vibe or you're not in the vibe.
And I just loved it to
So
death.
good.
And then Shin Godzilla did so good, and I loved it so much. Shin Ultraman appears, and I'm like, holy jumping
What is
kaiju,
this?
this is going to be so cool. I saw the first little trailer. It
Mm-hmm.
was like, whoa, this looks so cool. And I
Oh.
still have not seen it.
It's dying. Well, it's coming out soon now. Finally, October
Finally.
6th, it's going to be in America. Finally.
Yeah.
God, jeez.
But
So
I think
now we
this
wanted
is-
to kind of revisit because it will be out in just a few weeks. So we wanted to take another look at the very latest, greatest trailer. It's going to be here. Come on, people, let's watch it.
And I think this is the trailer for the theatrical release. So there's a couple of little shots in here that I haven't seen before.
Yep.
It's the theatrical, the I guess American or Western theatrical release trailer. So I think it looks pretty fun.
Yeah,
We ready?
we're ready.
All right. Action. Unknown object.
Disaster prevention.
Yeah. Science Patrol.
Oh,
Incoming object has crashed.
object. It's just Ultraman landing.
So that's Ultraman.
Oh, romance.
バディは相棒と理解している。
バディは互いに信頼がない。
巨人の行動には怪獣とは違う知性を感じた。
あなたが何者か正体が世界中にばらされ
Beta capsule.
Oh yeah.
私と一緒に
And a monster with a drill head on his head.
世界政治それとも人間
That sound.
Yeah. That sound and the effect, when he does the beam,
Yes.
that was actually done by the actual guy who did the beam on the original Ultraman series.
You
and
got to
he did
keep
it-
the beam.
And he did it the same way he did it in the 60s
love that.
show. It's like
That's so funny.
hand animated, like old style animation, like cell animation that they put
So
on there.
good.
I love that they did that. I love that they have that tradition and that respect for the old ways and for the reasons why this stuff looks so cool. I mean, that beam
don't-
looks awesome.
The thing you don't need, and this is what this director understands, you don't need to update it to make
Right.
people love it. You need to keep it like in the zone. Like the thing makes it great. It feels analog.
Yeah.
It has the kind of cool retro styling and feel and sound effects and the music. So it's like, granted, I felt this song was a little,
Yeah.
where is this coming from? But that's also very Japanese.
Right.
And also, what Ultraman needs some romance in his life. Why have they not had that? And then when I saw that, it occurred to me, it's like, poor guy must be so lonely.
He's a solitary figure, he
needs
does
romance.
his thing and nobody knows who he is. In the original series, that was part of the sadness of Ultraman is
It
because Hayata, he could never reveal his true identity as
Love in
Ultraman
his life.
and he would get beat up. It was sort of the old Superman kind of thing where
Yeah.
he'd fight and win and he was the hero and then he would show up later as himself and everybody would be like, "Oh, where were you?"
You're a big nerd. You weren't even here. You're a big loser.
And he's like, "Oh, I was passed out. I had the vapors. I was just so scared,
Exactly. But yeah, it's just kind of sad. But I'm hoping that maybe he'll get some this time. I don't know.
Yeah.
They sort of hinted at it. They said you need romance. They weren't taught initially about Ultraman, but someone made that sentiment in the film, and I wonder.
I
I'm
think
just
if
saying.
there is, it'll be tragic. It'll be sad.
Oh no, it'll be
Like,
terrible
he
because
can't-
he can't.
he can't because he's
No.
Ultraman.
That's the price to be a hero.
It's the price
That's what
you pay.
happens. It's just what it is.
But yeah, I mean,
But that
it
looks
just,
really fun.
it just
I'm
looks
looking forward
so
to it.
fun. And
I love Shin Godzilla. It just had a
Shin
great
Godzilla was
vibe.
great.
So
Yeah.
good. And I just love his analog kind of cool, almost puppeteered style
Yeah.
that didn't look like cheap. When I say puppet, I don't mean it in a bad way either. It just felt very real and awkward and strange. Like the whole vibe. This guy is just a genius on making that
Yeah.
work. I don't know why it worked, but it totally did. And I'm expecting it will in this too.
The
so.
monsters look really cool, but
They
they,
do.
also have a feel of being like a guy in a costume.
Yep.
And
Which
and
is the
sho-
charm.
they're shot from that level, the camera level, which
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit odd. A lot of times if you were going to shoot giants in a city, if you were seeing that, you'd be seeing it from way down here. You'd be
Mm-hmm.
looking up at these giants like
That's true.
you'd see buildings in the foreground and you'd see them behind,
Yeah.
But the Ultraman show used to put the camera up at like their eye level.
Yep.
And so it was almost like you were standing on a mountaintop watching the monster fights.
That's right.
And they did that in this, and that kind of gives it a nostalgic vibe too, that you're
Yeah.
not unlike a lot of giant monster movies that you see now, a lot of CGI type stuff
Yeah.
where they put the camera down and make it to make them look giant.
Yeah, exactly. So there it is. Shin Ultraman. It's almost here. Almost.
It looks like so much fun.
Does.
I'm going to be there.
We're going to be there.
Yeah.
All
I'm going to
right.
buy the 4K DVD and all that stuff.
I'm going to get a shirt or something.
buy more
Something's going to
toys.
happen. Yeah, more toys. That's what you need.
I need more toys.
So he won't be alone anymore.
yeah.
He needs his friends. All right, you
Yes.
guys. See you at Ultraman.
Thanks
Tell us
for
what you
watching.
think. Bye.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.